My sister used her mental illness to frame me, so I used her narcissism to expose her. My younger sister, Claire, became an expert manipulator the day she was diagnosed with severe anxiety disorder. She learned early on she could weaponize her condition, blaming me whenever she felt cornered, like the time Claire stole Mom's credit card to buy concert tickets. When confronted, she sobbed hysterically. Jess said I wasn't cool enough to hang out with her if I didn't go. She pressured me. I got grounded for a month with no questions asked. In high school, Claire threw a raging house party that trashed our home. When our parents came home unexpectedly, she tearfully insisted I was the one who manipulated her into hosting because she needed to learn to socialize better, to overcome her anxiety. My parents believed her, sympathizing with the fragile younger sister. I got kicked out and had to couch surf for the summer. Things escalated horribly during my first year of college. Claire stole prescription pills from a friend, overdosed, and nearly died. When the paramedic saved her, she whispered to our parents that it was me who convinced her the pills would calm her anxiety. My parents sent letters to the school exposing my toxicity, and my scholarships were revoked. Every accusation followed the same maddening script of Claire's tears, Claire's anxiety, and Claire as the victim. I tried to endure it, convincing myself her anxiety was real, until she finally took it too far. Claire's newfound obsession was activism. Though she cared only for the attention it might bring towards her podcast that had no more than 3 viewers, she decided to vandalize a pharmaceutical company's lab, live streaming herself spray painting slogans about animal testing. Security footage clearly identified her, but when arrested, she didn't even hesitate before blaming me. My sister Jess radicalized me. She's an extremist, always talking about destroying corporate greed. She had planted false evidence on my computer, expertly twisting my journalism research into apparent extremist propaganda. With no alibis and no witnesses, the investigators bought Claire's story entirely. I was furious, distraught, and wondered why my own sister had planned to set me up. But above all, I knew Claire wouldn't escape untouched, because I was done being her scapegoat. During the 6 months I was awaiting trial, I studied Claire obsessively, mapping exactly where she was vulnerable. I made records of her vanity, her desperate need for public approval, and her reckless impulsivity. I knew she would risk anything for attention, going by her overdone incident. So I reached out to my oldest friend Lena, someone who hated Claire. You see, Lena's own sister suffered from genuine anxiety and fought daily for stability and respect. So she had always hated how Claire used her condition to constantly put me in trouble. When I asked for her help, she didn't hesitate and said, Claire deserves whatever's coming her way. We mapped out every detail, including how Lena would infiltrate Claire's group and push her to become more and more reckless. So reckless, in fact, that she would end up confessing everything all on her own. I gave Lena the location of Claire's podcast, and she showed up pretending to be a fan. She said a bunch of crap about wanting to change the world and get millions of fans, and Claire bought it perfectly, even hiring Lena on her team. 12 days later, Claire was already chaining herself to buildings and risking serious trouble with the law. The grand finale was meticulously planned. Lena suggested that Claire should make a dramatic break-in at the luxurious mansion of a pharmaceutical company's CEO and post the entire thing on her podcast. She even sprinkled in a, "Your fans would love it." Claire agreed to do it. The night before, Lena was preparing Claire's equipment when she asked her, "So what's your favorite planned moment that went perfectly?" Claire's face burned with the urge to brag, and she spilled every detail about framing me. She gloated how effortlessly she had ruined my life. Lena recorded every word on her phone. Then the next day, Claire climbed the mansion walls while Lena pretended to hold a camera. Claire kept screaming how she was fighting against corruption to catch everyone's attention, and it worked. Within minutes, police cars had surrounded the mansion and were telling Claire to come back down. She looked down at them, probably to give them the finger, but in doing so, she slipped and lost her footing. She tumbled down multiple stories and fractured her pelvis in half. She was taken to the hospital, but more importantly, she was put on a watch list. Her podcast and all her posts were taken down from the public as part of the investigation. Meanwhile, her recorded confession cleared my name and I was released. She couldn't argue against her own words. Obviously, our parents didn't welcome me back and still maintained the stance that I was the real mastermind behind everything. Claire was eventually healed, but had to go right back to fighting for her life because she was now put on trial. She ended up with just probation, but wasn't allowed to make another podcast or go on social media ever again. Funny how the one thing she lived for was now out of her reach forever.